It's a national monument to engineering and to mobility. This is the second busiest bridge in the country. 282,000 vehicles cross it every day, so it's an extraordinarily significant structure, not just for the mobility of people getting to work, but also the economy. And when you consider that it was built more than 60 years ago with slide rules and no seismic measurements, it's also a testament to engineering.
My God, he says one of the bridges, they didn't say which one's collapsed.
Gosh!
This is a project of a lifetime for a lot of people, and it's a project that's going to save people's lives.
After Loma Prieta shut down the bridge, the Caltrans went into gear, of course, to make repairs, and they made repairs rather quickly, and within 30 days, I believe. And then, of course, began the debate about whether or not to retrofit and repair the bridge or replace it.
The New Bay Bridge has been studied. Committees appointed, panels put together, reports written. Financial experts have looked at this in triplicate. Look, if all the trees that were cut down to write these reports were just thrown into the bay, we could walk across to Oakland.
Why did it take 7 years to decide to replace versus retrofit? I think we were realizing how little we knew about the existing structure, how complicated it was. About the time we got to a reasonably comfortable retrofit strategy and priced it out, the numbers came out such that the department thought, well, wait a minute, we should examine a replacement.
All else being equal, it's probably a better idea to replace the structure.
Causeway is basically a freeway over water. It's been derided by East Bay politicians as a freeway on stilts. They didn't see it as an elegant solution to the problem.
Oakland Mayor Jerry Brown wanted there to be world attention brought to the city of Oakland on the design of this bridge.
I wanted a great, aesthetically impressive bridge.
Construction resumed on the Skyway, but the Republican governor and the Democratic legislature remained deadlocked on how to complete the bridge. Finally, Schwarzenegger agreed to accept the signature span.
After 7 months gridlock, Governor Schwarzenegger and his crew conceded on the design, said, okay, Bay Area, you can have your self-anchored suspension, but the state capped its contribution on the overruns to $630 million. And in return for that concession, the Bay Area would assume joint custody or joint management control over the construction of the rest of the bridge.
Going back to the SAS, I think we all have cautious optimism. We created a vision of a world-class, beautiful structure, and it's highly technologically advanced. It's one of a kind. Nobody's built anything like this before, so I don't think any of us can fully envision the problems that may come up until they're out there fabricating the pieces and fitting them together.
Well, I think the moral of it is to keep as much of the politics out of it as possible, and to remember there's a lot of big money rolling around. And when you get into these huge projects, the profits are incredible. It's like a gravy train.
When the tanker truck crashed on southbound I-880, more than 7,000 gallons of gasoline burst into flames and fueled a torch that began roasting the connector overhead. Caltrans engineers say the temperatures probably reached 2,000 degrees.
When it went down, it was just incredible to see something like that fall.
On Sunday, April 29th at 3:42 in the morning, a tanker truck carrying 8,600 gallons of gasoline was trying to negotiate the I-880 connector south through the MacArthur Maze and ended up toppling over and the load caught on fire.
When people heard that the maze was shut down, everybody panicked. Everybody thought, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to get to work. It's gonna be gridlock. And I was perfectly prepared for all hell to break loose. Caltrans estimated that it was gonna take months to fix this thing.
governor flew up from LA that night. He announced an emergency declaration, which allowed us to get in there and start doing contracting immediately.
Construction company C.C. Myers was the low bidder at $867,000.
C.C. Myers only bid $867,000 because he was banking on the fact that he could get that maximum incentive of $200,000 a day.
$867,000. It was just, unheard of. And you could only conclude from that this guy had assumed that he was going to collect that entire $5 million bonus.
About a quarter after 10, we find out we're low bidder. So I called Douglas back and I said, order that steel immediately. I take all responsibility. Carl Douglas called me and he said, I want to come over and see the job site. I said, well, I'd like to meet you. And we drove down that night. I met him, first time I ever met the guy. And I looked at him and I said, He's shorter than me, and I said, I don't know if I like you or not. You may be as good as me, if not better, getting the job done fast.
He is quite a tall person. He got out of the car, and I kind of looked up at him. He looked down at me, and basically he kind of told me, he says, you don't look near as big as you did on the telephone. And I explained to him that he had met his match on doing fast work for construction, and he kind of indicated to me he didn't like being told that, but I said, hey, look, we're cut out of the same mold here.
Once the bent cap's in place, the first 2 girders followed. The plan is 2 girders every night thereafter, and that's basically controlled by the rate they're coming in from the fabricator from Arizona.
They use modern materials. They use all the modern grades of steel. So really, the new structure, although it is based on the old design, is actually much safer.
Certainly, this was C.C. Myers and Caltrans' finest hour.
Working with Caltrans, it makes it very easy. They really jump in and work with us as a team.
From the day that they finished the maze project, it became the new paradigm for getting things done.
This Labor Day weekend, while the Bay Area turns to beach and barbecue, there will be no picnic for Caltrans. Instead, these workers will labor around the clock to replace this old gray slab with this new gray slab.
Caltrans is going to be demolishing about a football field-sized portion of the upper deck of the Bay Bridge right in front of the Yerba Buena Island Tunnel. Traffic is going to be taken off the bridge entirely. We're going to put rails on the lower deck of the Bay Bridge and lift in a precast concrete section that we built here on the south side of the island, slide it right into place with about 3 inches of tolerance on each side, and then connect it in and put traffic back on the bridge.
Woohoo!
The biggest concern going in was, what if something happened and you couldn't complete the operation? If for some reason that piece didn't get put into place, if it fell or something like that, you were not going to have the Bay Bridge for a very long time. And so what the strategy was to just preload all the contingencies.
We had all the backup, extra equipment, there's extra people, there's just really extra everything.
And all of a sudden we looked down towards Oakland, and here comes flashing lights and an army of trucks. And within minutes there must have been 24 concrete saws sawing the deck.
And I've never seen so many saws in my life in one place at one time. I didn't even know that there's not many saws in the state. I was really impressed how fast they cut that bridge up.
The biggest challenge was actually a demolition, and specifically the logistics of getting the rubble out of the way on such a tight island with such limited access, to get that done on time so that we could do the roll-in and meet our schedule.
When they were getting ready to move this huge piece of concrete, it was a slab, 350 feet long, and there's like this much clearance on either edge.
Well, they move it with a set of jacks and a pneumatic machine that will actually advance these jacks on the rail. It gets to a certain point, and then you can lock it in so that it can't move back. It's been likened to watching grass grow, but it actually does move, and while it's difficult to perceive the movement, go away for an hour, come back, and you can see that it's moved several feet.
It fit like a glove. It was just frankly amazing that they were able to just roll that in, zip up the joints, and traffic flowing on it the very next day.